I didn't want to talk about Charlie Kirk, truthfully. I kind of wanted to just move on to more fun stuff. But I mean, I think I would be lying to you if I wasn't kind of still obsessed with what was going on. We're going to focus mostly on Tyler Robinson, the alleged assassin of Charlie Kirk, because I think there's a lot going on there and a lot has developed since then. The Washington Free Beacon put out an article. The FBI investigates social media accounts that appear to indicate foreknowledge of Kirk's assassinations. So there's a lot of people that seem to be plugged in with Tyler Robinson, the guy that assassinated Charlie Kirk, that had foreknowledge of his plan of attack. Okay. The Federal Bureau of Investigations is investigating social media posts by at least 7 different accounts that appear to indicate foreknowledge of the assassination of Charlie Kirk, according to 3 people familiar with the investigation and screenshots obtained by the Washington Free Beacon. The post, one of which referenced the date of Kirk's assassination, September 10th, more than a month before it took place, were all deleted in the days following the killing. Several of the accounts appear to belong to transgender individuals, and at least one of them followed suspect Tyler Robinson's roommate. Just to link the roommate to you guys, in case you guys don't know, his roommate was a man, trans woman. A man, originally, a default man, customized into a woman, if that makes sense. And outside of just being roommates, also dating. So having gay sex. The FBI had received archived copies of the post, according to a person who flagged them for the agency. Screenshots of the post have been circulating online, but had not been previously authenticated. While the posts do not establish that any of the individuals knew or conspired with Robinson, the 22-year-old gunman who allegedly shot Kirk, several of them mention the conservative activist by name and fantasized about his death. Quote, it'd be funny if someone like Charlie Kirk got shot on September the 10th. Laugh my ass off. September 3rd, 2025. And then he followed up on the 11th saying, did I? And then followed up on the 13th saying, Donald Trump, December 14th. Another account posted on August 6th, more than a month before the shooting, that September 10th will be a very interesting day. After Kirk's assassination, the account followed up with, okay, well, we could just read this. September the 10th will be a very interesting day. Followed up the day of the assassination saying, I plead the 5th. The morbid quip was reported by an account named Churbum75M, saw Tyler June 30th, who appeared to follow Robinson's roommate Lance Twigs on TikTok, where Twigs' username is Lanclaudel. So follows them. Perfect. Minutes after Kirk was pronounced dead, Churbum75M posted on X, quote, we fucking did it. This is one that I had seen. Osamu bin Tezuka. Several of the accounts under investigation appeared to be associated with LGBT subcultures. One individual, Osamu Ben Tezuka, used the X handle at Fujoshi Incel, a reference to a genre of anime that depicts romantic relationships between men, of course. He tweeted out, you guys, I have something big coming soon. Just be sure to check the news. You'll know when you see it. And then the day of the assassination, he said, well, that's that, replying to his own tweet. Someone replied to that saying gulp, and then he replied to them saying another chud bites the dust. This is another one I actually knew about. Omar, another user at Najra Galvez, who wished death upon Kirk and predicted something big will happen when he set foot on campus, had identified as non-binary on X, tweeting, Charlie Kirk is coming to my college tomorrow. I really hope someone evaporates him literally, and followed up by saying, let's just say something big will happen tomorrow. And in the video posted on TikTok the night before the shooting, an individual who appeared to be transgender wrote, quote, Charlie Kirk does not know what's coming tomorrow. This is a screenshot from that video that was posted by this mob named Jackson, just looking cute. Looking cute in them pants, boy. Looking cute in them pants, boy. So there seem to be some transgender individuals online that knew about this before it happened. So this investigation, I mean, Kash Patel specifically We're not going to play the clip. It doesn't matter. But he recently did a press conference. He jumped in on a press conference regarding the capture of Tyler Robinson, where he was saying how good of a job the FBI did and local law enforcement, but they did nothing. It seems like to me. I mean, realistically, all they did was put out a picture of who they thought could possibly be the killer. And then the guy's dad happened to notice, hey, that kind of looks like my son, and asked him about it. And his son was like, yeah, that was me. And then told his son, you should turn yourself in. So, I mean, the FBI had very little to do with this investigation being successful. I mean, it had been, 2 days since his capture? I mean, anyone could have, at that point, jumped on a plane and just got the fuck out of the country and just never be seen again. They could have went to Argentina. And like I said, a lot of people were criticizing Kash Patel prior to the investigation, including weeks prior to the investigation. Don't mind MSNBC's DEI lens on this story, but a couple weeks, maybe a couple months, when did this come out? August 5th. So about a month prior, it just so happened that Kash Patel fired a very high-ranking FBI field director. Let's say you're looking for a suspect nationwide. You're on a nationwide manhunt because they just assassinated a political figure. The type of person that you want running that operation is a field director. And this was a very high-ranking, seemingly very well-respected field director that he fired, who happened to operate out of Salt Lake City, very city that the investigation was taking part in. Fired this lady a month before. Was it connected? I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe it's just a coincidence. But it seems weird. And at the time, he got a lot of flack for firing this lady. Everyone was like, that seems like an odd person to fire. She actually is very good at her job. Fired her and then needed her literally a month later. Then Kash Patel yesterday said this, talking about a written note, a manifesto that he found or allegedly found. And the details on this are so dodgy. Listen to this. Try and make sense of this.
Did he write a written note before the assassination attempt? That's what the governor said yesterday. And what did that say? If you could.
So what I'm able to say, I'm sorry. So what I'm able to say is I addressed it partially earlier. Is that the written note we believe what did exist, and we have.
Okay, so he's saying there's a written manifesto that did exist, doesn't currently. There was a manifesto. They've never seen it because it's been deleted, but they do have enough evidence to know what was in it. That sound normal to you?
What was in that note, which is, and I'm going to summarize, basically saying, the suspect wrote a note saying, I have the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk and I'm going to take it. That note was written before the shooting. Evidence of its existence, we now have learned, existed before the shooting, was in the location.
So evidence of the notes existed before the shooting. The evidence of the note existing doesn't exist now.
In the suspect and partner's home. But we have since learned that the note, even though it has been destroyed, we have found forensic evidence of the note, and we have confirmed what that note says because of our aggressive interview posture at the FBI.
Like, what the fuck are you even talking about? What did any of that mean? It sounded to me, it sounds intentionally confusing. It's to make you go like, what? Okay, so there's a note, you have the note? It's meant to make you do that. It seems like they're making it up though. I mean, realistically. Now, as far as the actual killer goes, Tyler Robinson, this is a clip that Candace Owens had played on her podcast that I thought was pretty interesting. And he has some weird thoughts about the whole thing. Let's hear what Michael Savage has to say. I thought it was fairly insightful.
Something's wrong. I know I shouldn't do this. I'm risking an awful lot to go up against this FBI, the MAGA FBI. Something's very wrong with what I just heard. I mean, I watched it. I was hoping that they had caught the bastard who shot Charlie. So we saw a video of a person jumping off the roof. It looked very legitimate to me.
Okay. You guys remember that, right? He allegedly shoots Charlie Kirk in the neck. This is allegedly Tyler Robinson running with a gun. I don't know if you guys see the gun. I don't really see a gun anywhere. And then jumps off the roof down to the grass. Doesn't that seem weird? It's a little strange. It doesn't seem like there's a rifle. Now there's a bag there. Okay. Seems like it's not rifle sized. If you're unfamiliar with the gun, it was a Mauser 30.06 is the rifle. So, I mean, if you were to break down this gun, would come apart in two pieces, essentially, from the research I did of people disassembling these guns. There's this wood piece is one solid piece, and then the receiver, the barrel, and the scope would be kind of a piece unto itself. So TMZ put out a timeline of the event, and it's like pretty tight. So shoots Charlie at 12:23 and jumps off the roof at some point between 12:23 and 12:25, meaning he would have had 0 to up to 2 minutes potentially to disassemble the rifle. Let's continue with Michael Savage here.
They're trying to claim he removed the barrel from the Mauser and fit the receiver and stock in his backpack and barrel in his pants leg all in 2 seconds. It is not easy to remove a Mauser barrel or index it after reinstalling and remain accurate. We are not hearing or seeing reality. And by the way, the photo of the rifle allegedly left in the woods has the barrel installed. A guy is on the run after killing Charlie Kirk, and he pauses in the woods to reinstall a barrel, and then he leaves it for us to find, the FBI to find.
Right. So that part is weird to me. Let's say the FBI is correct, and he did break it down, and William Gass in my chat is correct, and it can be broken down easily. Fair enough. This is what they found in the woods. A reassembled rifle? If he was going to stash this in the woods, why would he reassemble it? That seems a little weird. Did they do that just for the picture? They didn't say they did. Why would they leave that part out? Maybe they did. It is a little strange that this is how they found it, or at least that's how they presented it to us. Also, if we go back to that timeline video, which is part of the reason why I brought it up. So between 12:23, 12:25 is when he escapes. And then between 12:26 and 12:28 is where he stashes the gun within minutes. Maybe it's possible. And then during his escape, he reassembled it to stash it in the woods and also changed his clothes. Like, I'm getting very much a 9/11 vibe from this. Well, there's so many open questions, and I know it's going to make me look crazy if I say, guys, I don't believe the official story. I know that's going to make me seem crazy. I don't believe it, though. This next piece, I think, is pretty damning. This was released today, released by the Judicial Court of Utah regarding the case. This is just a little bit of a caveat sidebar, but I think the criminal justice system is kind of fucked up that, like, clearly the guy should be charged with first-degree murder, and that should be like the charge. But he racked up 7 counts. Count 1 is aggravated murder, victim targeting enhancement, which is the fact that he chose Charlie Kirk specifically. Violence offense committed in the presence of a child, because there happened to be a child there. His second count is a felony discharge of a firearm causing serious bodily injury with victim targeting enhancement, which is targeting Charlie Kirk, and violent offense committed in the presence of a child. Count 3 is obstruction of justice, which was for stashing the gun. Count 4 is a second count of obstruction of justice. The fact that he just didn't turn himself in immediately. Tampering with a witness, a second count of tampering with a witness. Count 7 is violent offense committed in the presence of a child, which are two like sub things attached to counts 1 and 2. Like, the idea that he got 7 counts for one crime, it just seems like a way for the government to like weaponize the criminal justice system against the black man. But where this is interesting and added some new information, which seems weird to me, okay, is the section that covers the roommates. So I should probably just have a picture of this motherfucker turned up. So on the left, Tyler Robinson. On the right, Lance Twigs. So let's get this one. It's a little more depressing. That's his trans roommate / boyfriend. Okay. The roommate. So police interviewed Robinson's roommate, a biological male who was involved in a romantic relationship with Robinson. So he's gay. The roommate told police that the roommate received messages from Robinson about the shooting and provided those messages to police. which this was actually one of the counts. The fact that he like texted someone about the murder, that's one of the obstruction of justice counts, I'm pretty sure. On September the 10th, see, this is where it gets weird. They mention a date, but then when you read the text messages, part of which is weird, there's other things that are weird to me about these texts, part of which is weird. They mention these are on September the 10th, 2022. Is that a fucking typo? Clearly some of these texts were not on September the 10th, but they don't mention that. So it's just kind of, it's odd. The lack of specificity here is very fucking weird. The roommate received a text message from Robinson, which said, quote, drop what you're doing, look under my keyboard. The roommate looked under the keyboard and found a note that stated, quote, I had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk. I'm going to take it. Police found a photograph of this note, and perhaps that's the evidence that Kash Patel was kind of mumbling and bumbling his way through, trying to tell the audience what he found. Maybe that's what's in reference to it, but I don't know. He was too retarded, so I'm not going to give him the benefit of the doubt. Let's continue. The following text exchange took place. Okay, so let's read this text exchange, okay? After reading the note, the roommate responded, what? You're joking, right? Okay. Then Robinson replied to that, I am still okay, my love, because he's gay. But I am stuck in Orem, which is the town that this took place in, all right, the assassination. For a little while longer yet. Shouldn't be long until I can come home, but I gotta grab my rifle still. To be honest, I had hoped to keep the secret till I died of old age. I am sorry to involve you. Roommate, you weren't the one who did it, right? Robinson, I am. I'm sorry. Roommate, I thought they caught the person. This is on September the 10th, remember that. That one's not that weird. Because initially there was a person an old man that they caught and thought was the person. But keep this in mind, okay? No, they grabbed some crazy old dude. They interrogated someone in similar clothing, okay? So if you remember that night, like pretty late in the night, FBI Director Kash Patel had mentioned that they caught a second suspect, but then later tweeted out that they had let him go. So this text chain could have happened on September the 10th, but it gets weird a little bit later. I had planned to grab my rifle from my drop point shortly after, but most of that side of town got locked down. It's quiet, almost enough to get out, but there's one vehicle lingering. So he's ostensibly, Robinson, live texting, I guess, his gay trans roommate close by within eyesight of the gun's, as he called it, drop point. Roommate, why? Robinson, why did I do it? Roommate, yeah. Robinson, I had enough of his hatred. Some hate can't be negotiated out. If I am able to grab my rifle unseen, I will have left no evidence. Going to attempt to retrieve it again. Hopefully they moved on. I haven't seen anything about them finding it. Then we get an ellipses, which they don't make any reference to. So we could assume this happened at some point in the future, but this is where the timeline of these September the 10th tweets start going a little weird. How long have you been planning this, says the roommate? Robinson then replies, a bit over a week, I believe. I can get close to it, but there is a squad car parked right by it. I think they already swept that spot, but I don't want to chance it. Okay. And then another ellipses, Robinson says, I'm wishing I had circled back and grabbed it as soon as I got my vehicle. I'm worried what my old man would do if I didn't bring back Grandpa's rifle. I don't even know if it had a serial number, but it wouldn't trace to me. I was worried about Prince. I had to leave it in a bush where I changed outfits. A couple minutes, he reassembled the gun and changed outfits. I didn't have the ability or time to bring it with. I might have to abandon it and hope they don't find Prince. How the fuck will I explain losing it to my old man? Only thing I left was the rifle wrapped in a towel. Remember how I was engraving bullets? So just admitting to engraving the bullets. A lot of just flat out saying, I did the crime. This piece of evidence that happens to point towards me. I did that. Did you know that? A lot of that in these text messages. That seems weird, but we'll continue. The fucking messages are mostly a big meme. If I see notices bulge ooh woo on Fox, news. I think that's supposed to say, I might have a stroke. All right, I'm gonna have to leave it. That's really fucking nuts. And then after some more time passes, allegedly, Robinson then says, delete this exchange. My dad wants photos of the rifle. He says grandpa wants to know who has what. The feds released a photo of the rifle and it's very unique. Calling me right now, not answering. Okay. And the thing about this photo of the rifle, this was released on September the 11th. This specific one was released on the 15th. But the original, I checked this myself. The original photo of the rifle was released the day after. So not September the 10th. This is what I mean by it's a little strange how aloof they're being with the facts. We're just to assume that this was a time jump and that, you know, and the fact that these messages now, because there's time jump, it seems like they're cherry picking these. I'm not saying he's innocent. I'm saying this is a weird way to disseminate information to the masses. This seems highly curated, seems like it might be omitting things that you don't want the public to see. I wonder what. And it's not playing into the timeline so far, which is another weird thing. So then after another jump in time, we assume, Robinson then says, since Trump got into office, my dad has been pretty diehard MAGA. Like, why even mention this? Why was this included even? Oh, is that just supposed to be motive that he's like a left-wing radical now? Is that why that was included? And then these don't, like, you know, a lot of these don't even have replies, which is also weird. Robinson, I'm going to turn myself in willingly. One of my neighbors is here, is a deputy for the sheriff. Robinson, you are all I worry about. Love, roommate. I'm much more worried about you, Robinson. Don't talk to the media, please. Don't take any interviews or make any comments. If the police ask you questions, ask for a lawyer and stay silent. Ooh, that didn't happen. Weirdness with these text messages. One glaring thing I didn't mention that immediately stood out to me the second I started reading these earlier today. These text messages are surprisingly well written. There's punctuation. There's occasional spelling mistakes. This O should have been capitalized. But does this seem like they were written by a 22-year-old Zoomer? Let's reread this one. I am still okay, my love, but I am stuck in Orem for a little while longer yet. Shouldn't be long until I can come home, but I gotta grab my rifle still. To be honest, I had hoped to keep this secret till I died of old age. I am sorry to involve you. Are we to believe if two gay Zoomer, 20-year-old Zoomers, does this seem like how they would be texting to each other? I'm sorry. Or does this seem like it was written by a fucking writer's room that currently has anyone seen a movie that's been released since 2020? It seems like it was written by the conglomerate of writers that write those movies. I had enough of his hatred. Some hate can't be negotiated out. If I am able to grab my rifle unseen, I will have left no evidence. For real, it's so melodramatic. Shakespeare? Yeah, it isn't natural. Right. Has anyone spoken to someone that's 20? Is this how they talk? I'm wishing I had circled back, then grabbed it as soon as I got my vehicle. Your vehicle? My automotive vehicle. This is fake. This is fake texts. These are not real texts. I'm just calling it now. These aren't real texts. I don't believe these for a fucking second. Sorry. Maybe I am now a conspiracy theorist. This tweet, I think, I wish I could sum it up as well as this tweet, but this tweet, I think, sums up the text messages better than I ever could. So let me just read this guy. One short conversation. 1, establishes a location. 2, confirms rifle. 3, exonerates the Mossad distraction George Zinn. We'll get to that in a second. 4, establishes a motive. 5, confirms a drop point of the rifle. That's another bit. Drop point? Do you really think a Zoomer is using the word drop point? 6, establishes planning timeline. 7, pawns rifle on grandpa, no handoffs. 8, references bushes for rifle and changing outfits. 9, admits to etching bullets. Goddamn, this FBI is lucky when they write their own script. 12 exchanges, 9 clues. Now that's what I call a Christmas miracle in Valhalla. Like I was saying before, where these texts were allegedly from September the 10th, or we assume they're from September the 10th only because they don't mention that it could go further, but there's ellipses that we are supposed to assume that time passes by. but whatevs. And so I just included this. I did an advanced search on Twitter. So I searched Charlie Kirk Mauser, that's the rifle, and I put a date until, I don't know if you guys can see this or if it's too small, but I put a date. So nothing past September the 10th. So it won't search September the 11th, September the 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, etc. No rifles. So rifle was posted on the 11th, confirmed. This is Tyler Robinson's first court appearance today. There's not much to really talk about here. They do mention that the death penalty is on the table. They mentioned the next court date is going to be on the 29th, so at the end of the month. This is moving pretty quickly. I have a feeling that this case is going to move quickly. He's going to get the death penalty, and that's another loose end